Guy he's got right behind him, Kervontae Benson, is a very dangerous running back as Marshall veers to the 20-yard line, and he'll
60 minutes.
They're without Jalen Dalton, the defensive lineman, among others, as Marshall gets slung down at the 23-yard maximum hit that he can get out of it. As Marshall does unload to the sideline and incomplete for Brad Stewart, the junior. So Carolina's DC for the year. Kervontae Benson goes straight ahead after a massive week against.
It's all about you taking care of your role one play at a time.
Marshall to throw. Ricky June, his senior wide receiver.
He's back at quarterback and doing a nice job.
He runs it this time, and Paul Johnson. They'll pitch it to Searcy, and Quay Searcy is down. He's a
receiver, so it's 1, 2, 3. Read, option, and then block for the pitch.
This pitch to Kervontae Benson.
Or do I pitch it to the A-back like he did right there?
Marshall to throw off play action. He is swarmed under. Second down and 16. They run to the short side, and Searcy, who's got a gap down the sideline, and took a. That's Cottrell in motion. And Marshall to run. He just took on 3 Carolina. Play number 9 of the drive. Marshall wants to throw, and now he tried to stiff arm the defender Collins and communication issues, but they have since sorted them out. As Marshall loads up to throw down the field, Ricky June tried to high point it and couldn't haul it in. Marshall on the run. Marshall keeps his feet. He's inside the 40-yard line and plus 10. Wait, but he can still get around at 380. As this is a run for Georgia Tech. Benson in there again. Tries to bounce it slightly outside, and this is going to be third down and very short. Marshall runs it himself, and Marshall has the first down for Georgia Tech. It was best rushing team in the country, and that's not unexpected for Georgia Tech as Clinton Lynch gets the toss this time. Problem last year against North Carolina for Georgia Tech, the red zone trips as Benson maneuvers down to the 5. 6 red.
All of the newness up front, creating a lack of continuity on the line of scrimmage for UNC offensively.
Benson double.
Front doesn't help the youngster in the pocket either.
Taquan Marshall to throw. He unloads for the sideline and over.
Touches or possessions, and so you have to make good with what you get.
Marshall wanted to throw. He is nailed. That's Lynch in motion. And Marshall wanted to pitch it, but he was hit by 2. I mean, they've got a new middle linebacker in Jonathan Smith, among others, as Marshall goes toward his offhand.
And the defense outside of that one drive is looking like they're figuring it out a bit.
Marshall breaks away from 2, loads a time. Marshall keeps his feet and zigzagging through the Tar Heel blue car wash. Could be great fun, or we might need a new analyst. On the ground with Benson. Second down coming up, Chris.
He's going for the steak with me, I guarantee that.
He brings the blender into the studio with him on Saturdays. Cottrell on the toss, and he.
Point.
Yeah, talking to Paul Johnson.
Through his A-backs, and then he gets player feedback between plays and between series.
As Benson gets thrown down, good position in the coastal. Marshall is hit, and he's going to be about a. Benson in the backfield, 4th down and 1. Kervontae Benson is going to get the first down. They'll run it again, but the 3rd down play is the one that really drew the frustration of Paul. And then Paul Johnson jumps right back into calling plays. Marshall tried to set to throw and got blown up at the 40.
On the truth.
There's certain guys that he absolutely trusts and others that he kind of trusts. Ricky June, a sliding grab at the.
All of that right there.
He's one of those guys that Paul Johnson says if he says it, I believe him. As Cottrell gets double teamed
in the box somewhere, but he does it incredibly efficiently.
What I want to know is what Chris was able to see for Georgia Tech. 3rd down and 1 for Marshall in the offense. Benson is slugged down at the 30. Under 3 to go, first half. Marshall with the pitch to the outside. Clinton Lynch sees daylight. Lynch down the sideline. Got a nice block out front from down so far today. Marshall leaves his feet this time and gets thrown back. Tenner, he's very high on him, but Carolina has done well. Kervonte Benson can't find the pylon. He's third down and goal for Georgia Tech. Marshall to throw to the end zone and incomplete. Is that what it's like?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
Or maybe the focus is lost for Georgia Tech.
Here as this second half begins.
We'll see if the assembly line speeds up for Carolina, whose defense played long drives, and this may be one of them. Let's see. Taquan Marshall, first-year starting quarterback, tucks it and runs. Marshall veers across the 20. Thought about pitching, thought about it again, and decides to withstand the hit.
Just keeping it, and sometimes the result was the ball ended up on the ground.
Ricky June, the target this time on the outside, just short of the yards on the ground, like here on 3rd and 2. Marshall got caught in between, but still picked up the first.
Aware of down and distance before he even gets the snap.
Kervonte Benson darting up the middle, and he's very. The last 2 have been turnovers. Kervonte Benson finds some space. To the sideline he goes. Georgia Tech breaks it wide open. Benson touchdown. On the sideline. First down for Georgia Tech and Kervonte Benson. And so the question is, what was it like? Member of our crew. You know what? We need more reports about your age from Chris. Marshall down the sideline. Look out. Another big hit for Georgia Tech. Marshall into open space. Marshall inside the 15.
Carolina's defense is simply getting worn out.
Mental fatigue, too. Not only physical fatigue, right?
Yeah, and that happened, and that's exactly what he's gotten out of Marshall this season.
To the short side, Marshall is dropped before the 10-yard line. Carolina shifts on the line. Marshall to throw on 3rd down, end zone. Touchdown, Ricky June. All with South Carolina with that big upset over Connecticut this past year. Marshall going for the jugular to the sideline. He has Brad Stewart, who sheds a tackle. The last pick led to a touchdown from the Georgia Tech defense. This is Kervonte Benson seeking the goal line. He leans. Did he lose the ball? Recovered for Carolina. Did Benson get in is the question before the fumble.
That's going to be the question. Is the ball just has to be in possession and penetrate the front of that line, and that ball was clearly out.